My beloved child, stay with me for just a moment, please. Do not rush to scroll away. I have been by your bedside, hearing every choking sob and every tear-soaked prayer you offer each night. You once thought those prayers fell into a void, but today, to soothe your bleeding heart, I have come to you and asked for only 2 minutes of your time. Just 2 minutes. My child, I bring you an answer. You have been weary of searching for a secret about the real reason you had to walk through those dark and exhausting days recently. If you rush away now, the timing of this secret will be lost, and you may miss the most peaceful turning point that I have spent an eternity preparing specifically for your life. I see the weariness in your eyes. I know how hard you have had to push yourself lately. You silently carry anxieties, the weight of crushing debt, and a suffocating loneliness. There are moments when you collapse in self-pity, asking, why me? Why do I strive so much, yet still come up empty-handed, my dear child? Listen to my whisper. Those sorrows are absolutely not a punishment or abandonment. They are merely the rain clearing the path. A priceless reward, a radiant blessing, is quietly moving toward you to compensate for every tear you have shed. And at the very end of this conversation, I will tell you exactly what that gift is and how your small hands can reach out and touch it. But my child, I need you to truly pay attention and be still right now. The line of change is incredibly fragile. The noisy life out there, or even the restless anxieties in your mind, will try to urge you to scroll past. Please, do not let those meaningless things rob you of the privilege that belongs to you. If you can just patiently stay a little longer and fully receive the truth I am about to bestow, your soul will never again be pulled down to the depths by poverty or fear. The light is right before your eyes, and everything now waits to see if you are willing to lean on my shoulder for these 2 brief minutes. Do not let old wounds stop you from receiving peace. Show me that your heart is truly open to being healed. Right now, relax your tense shoulders and comment the words, I am ready to receive the truth. That small action is your hand reaching back to mine. It is the most peaceful confirmation signaling that you are ready to receive a miracle. Sit here with me and take a deep breath. The secret to healing and permanently changing your life begins right now. You are still here, staying in this stillness with me, and my heart truly leaps with joy because you chose to trust, chose not to scroll past, and gave your soul a chance to breathe. Just sit there, let down the heavy burdens on your shoulders, and shed the thorny armor you've had to wear through a long, exhausting day. Right now, in this sacred space, there is only you and I, no judgment, no prying or demanding eyes of the world, only a vast love and absolute understanding surrounding you. I see through everything. My child, my heart feels as though it is being squeezed when I see how you have been struggling to survive these past days. The world outside only sees your smile. They see someone who appears to be doing fine, someone who patiently steps out every morning, takes care of others, and says with a smile, I'm okay. I can handle it. But I am never fooled by that heartbreakingly false exterior. I look straight into your soul, and I see a spirit shattering into pieces. I know your utter exhaustion from playing the role of a strong person, a pillar that isn't allowed to waver. That is an incredibly heavy mask, isn't it? My child, during the day, you swallow your self-pity and resentment to be a support for those around you, trying to keep everything from falling apart. But when darkness falls, when the bedroom door closes, separating you from the noisy world, and you are left alone with 4 silent walls, that mask tiredly falls away. I have been right by your bed during those pitch-black nights, watching with sorrow as you huddled in the dark, clutching a thin blanket, sobbing silently so no one would hear. I know exactly that feeling, the feeling of the heart tightening as if pierced by 10,000 needles, the feeling of being trapped and suffocated to the point where you only wish you could sink into a deep sleep. forget everything, and never have to wake up to face this harsh reality again. But my child, do not rush to give up hope, because it is in those darkest, most weary nights, when you thought you had reached the very bottom of despair, that I silently sowed a seed of a miracle in the soil of your soul. In just a moment, when the curtain of darkness is pulled back, I will show you why the total brokenness of today was a requirement, a stretching of your soul's boundaries, so you could contain the massive treasury of blessings about to pour down upon your life. You are carrying too much pressure on those small shoulders, and I know every single part of it, not missing a single detail. I know your mind has not rested for a single second, torn apart by cold, sharp numbers, the financial difficulties, the debts coming due that haunt your thoughts, the bills that wait for no one, and the gut-wrenching fear when thinking about tomorrow, not knowing how to manage so your family can be fed and you can survive another day. How many times have you looked at your empty hands? Feeling helpless and blaming yourself for being useless, you have worked tirelessly. Sweat has fallen, tears have flowed, and you have tried to rise with a virtuous heart. But it seems misfortune surrounds you. For every step forward, the storm of adversity cruelly pushes you back 3 steps. Poverty and lack do not just rob you of food and sleep. They are cruelly draining the last bit of hope and self-esteem within you. You feel like you are trekking across a barren desert, trying to find a drop of luck. But you are surrounded only by indifferent white sand. But engrave this deeply into your mind: the financial and material depletion you are experiencing right now is not a grave burying your future. It is not the end. In a moment, I will reveal to you a great secret of the universe, which is the law of the abyss of abundance. You will realize and understand why I had to allow you to face extreme lack, completely emptying your hands, just before I decided to throw wide the storehouse of infinite prosperity and place that glory into the very hands that once bore calluses and scratches. It is not just the worry over food and money. I also see the deep, bleeding wounds that people have heartlessly left on your holy soul. You have lived a kind life, giving your whole heart without calculation, reaching out to help others when they were in danger or had fallen on hard times. But in return, what did you receive? A bone-chilling indifference, ungratefulness, and most painfully, like a knife to the heart, betrayal from the very people you once trusted, once considered your own flesh and blood. When you stood on the edge of life's abyss, reaching out for a hand to hold, those who once spoke sweet words and owed you favors turned their backs in unison and ran. You screamed for help in vain, receiving only a terrifying silence and doors slamming coldly in your face. You were left alone in the storm. At that moment, you felt like a redundant object discarded without mercy, unappreciated and unwanted. That loneliness is so devastating and toxic that it began to eat away at your mind, making you doubt your own worth. You looked at yourself in the mirror, at your haggard face, and asked, "Am I that bad? Where did I fail that they would treat me this way?" You resent their departure and ache from the trauma they caused. But my child, in just a few minutes, you will burst into tears of utter relief. You will no longer resent anyone. Instead, you will bow your head in gratitude to me, because I will show you the deep and powerful reason why I had to forcefully uproot those toxic people from your life. Their departure was not a rejection of you. It was a grand protection from me, a purification of your circle of karma that currently, with tear-filled mortal eyes, you cannot yet see through. In the depths of your dead end, you raised your swollen eyes to the pitch-black sky and let out words of reproach toward me. You cried out in silent shock, "Lord, what did I do wrong? Have I ever lived cruelly toward anyone? Why does life treat me so heartlessly? Why do you let people trample over me? Why have you forgotten me in this misery? Oh, my little child, how could I ever forget the most beautiful and pure manifestation of myself? I have never taken my eyes off you, not even for a fleeting blink. When everyone turned their backs and left, I was still standing right there behind you, when you trembled in despair. My invisible but warm arms were wrapping around your tattered soul, every tear that rolled down your cheek and fell onto the cold floor. I carefully caught, gathered, and kept as the most precious gems in eternity. I do not let a single tear of yours fall in vain. My silence throughout the recent storm was not abandonment, it was refinement. You did absolutely nothing wrong. I want you to say that loudly in your mind right now. Shout it to dispel the self-doubt. I am not at fault. Do not punish yourself with toxic thoughts for one more second. The reason they treated you poorly is because the stature of their souls is too small, too mediocre to recognize the brilliant, priceless diamond hidden deep within you. It is absolutely not because you weren't good enough. Take a deep breath. Let the air fill your parched lungs. I fully understand every pain, every injustice, every burden of debt, and the extreme loneliness you are enduring. I have recorded it all in your golden book of life. And because I have witnessed your heartbreaking resilience, this bitter and harsh test is nearing its end. The darkest, coldest night is always the moment just before the red sun breaks through the clouds. And your dawn, your glory, is very, very near, right at your doorstep. Now, as you understand that all your wounds are understood, embraced, and cherished by me, is your soul truly ready to receive the great truth behind these storms? The flow of destiny is about to reverse, and the most brutal purification is preparing to make way for an unimaginable miracle. Are you ready to receive the great truth behind these storms? Then listen closely, my resilient child, because what I am about to say right now will forever change the way you perceive all the trauma, losses, and tears of your past. Let these words sink deep into every cell, every beat of that bleeding heart, so you realize you were never a victim of fate, but a great warrior being personally forged by me. You once blamed me for letting the doors of hope repeatedly slam shut in your face. You felt pain and disappointment when opportunities that seemed within your grasp suddenly vanished. You wept because those you loved and cherished with all your heart heartlessly turned away, spoke bitter words, and left you wandering alone in the storm of life. But my child, with mortal eyes clouded by the mist of trauma, you mistook that for rejection. No, 1,000 times. No, that was not my refusal. That was the most decisive intervention and protection I had for you. I dwell on high. I see the entire tapestry of your life stretching from the past to the future. And I see through the dark hearts of those surrounding you. If I had let those doors stay open, if I had allowed those people to remain in your life, they would have drained the last bit of light from your soul. They would have exploited your kindness, bled your forgiveness dry, and dragged you deep into a dark swamp with no escape. You blame me for letting them leave, but you do not know that I had to use my power to forcefully pluck them out of your life, even knowing it would leave you with raw, bleeding wounds in the present. I would rather see you cry from pain for a short time than let you wither and die slowly in their toxicity for a lifetime. Every door that closed, every person who walked away, was a spiritual scalpel I used to cut out the malignant tumors rooted in your destiny. Their departure was the necessary empty space, the clearing of the site, so I could prepare to bring new people, new opportunities, and true, radiant blessings into your life. Look deep into yourself. My child, the extreme pain you are carrying is not a blow meant to strike you down, but the most sacred purifying fire. Just as gold must endure the melting heat of thousands of degrees in a furnace to shine brilliantly, your soul is passing through the fire of testing to wash away all weakness, all dependency, and all illusions of the world's vanity. I know you feel like you are breaking apart, but remember, for a seed to sprout and grow into a great ancient tree, its hard outer shell must crack and break apart in the dark earth. Your old shell, a version of you that was too kind to the point of being subservient, always afraid of displeasing others, always yielding and lowering your own value to trade for scraps of affection. That version is no longer suitable. I am removing it. I am crushing your self-doubt, crushing the narrow limits you imprisoned yourself in, so that from those ashes, a new human being proud, strong, and wise can be reborn. Do you know why I had to forge you so harshly? Because I have prepared for you a crown of glory, a great mission, and a massive treasury of blessings. But with your old soul weak, vulnerable, and gullible, you would never have been able to fit that crown. If I gave you power and abundance before you were ready, their weight would crush you, and the petty would immediately swarm to tear apart what you have. The pain you tasted is what created the sturdy backbone of your soul, helping you stand tall, hold your head high, know how to say no to things that are unworthy, and know how to protect your own blessings. Now, looking back at the storms that have passed, I hope you do not look at them with eyes wet with resentment anymore. Look at them with great empathy. For every knife wound in your heart was a master stroke of my carving to turn you into a perfect masterpiece. And now, let me decode for you the utter material and financial dead end you are facing. What I call the law of the abyss of abundance. You cried until you collapsed when you saw your last coin slip away. When you saw your hard efforts yield only a zero. You looked at your empty hands and saw pathetic failure. But oh, little child, you did not fail. The eternal law of the universe is you cannot pour new, premium-aged wine into an old, moldy leather skin full of holes. You cannot decorate a dilapidated, collapsing shack with luxury furniture. If I granted you wealth while you were surrounded by exploiters, they would drain your assets dry. If I granted you success while the foundation of your mindset and faith was still fragile, that success would become a trap that destroys you. Therefore, I had to do the most cruel but most loving thing. I had to completely empty your hands. I had to tear down to the roots the rotten house you were trying to patch up every day. That process of tearing down creates noise, creates collapse, and creates a scene of desolation that terrifies you and makes you think you've lost everything. The current depletion, dead end, and poverty are actually just an empty space. A clean site that has been cleared so I can begin pouring the foundation for a magnificent palace of abundance. The abyss where you stand is not a place to bury you. It is the sturdiest springboard, the bedrock foundation from which I will lift you to soar into the high, wide sky. Look at your empty hands right now. Do not look at them with self-pity anymore. Look at them as a dry, washed clean cup, turned upward, preparing to receive the infinite waterfall of prosperity I am about to pour down. Yesterday's loss is the incredibly small price to pay for tomorrow's immeasurable overflow and abundance. When you are at the very bottom of the abyss, you have no other path but upward. And I am the one reaching out, my hand to pull you up at a speed that your mortal logic cannot imagine. At this moment, as the mist of ignorance has been lifted, as you have seen the great intent behind every pain, every betrayal, and every lack, does your soul feel lighter? Every burden of resentment, every self-reproach, every question of why me now has a complete answer. You are not a redundant person abandoned by the universe. You are a light warrior entering the final stage of training before the hour of coronation. I call upon you right now, let go of the knife of hatred that is cutting your own heart. Forgive those who hurt you, not because they deserve forgiveness, but because your noble soul deserves to be free. And most importantly, forgive yourself. Forgive the times you were weak, the times you chose the wrong person, the times you fell. The past has finished its mission. It has carved you into a shining diamond. It is time for you to step out of the forge and shine. If your heart is now vibrating with the understanding of my great arrangement, if you are ready to cast aside resentment, to firmly grasp my glowing hand, then leave a mark of faith right now. Words in the mind can fly away, But when you boldly declare, your energy connects directly to the miracle flow of the universe. Do not hesitate. Type the words, "I trust you," to officially confirm with me, with the universe, and with the angels standing around you, that you have completely shed the victim shell, and you are ready, strong enough to receive this great elevation. Write that commitment so that the purification ends and the moment of the miraculous transition is officially activated in your life. I have seen your glowing mark of faith. I have heard the resilient echo from deep within your soul as you boldly uttered that sacred commitment. Your absolute surrender at this very moment has created a powerful tremor through all the heavens, permanently breaking the dark mist that has shrouded your life for so long. Because you chose to trust me, even when your eyes could not see the light. Because you chose to take my hand even when your feet were bleeding on the parched earth of despair. Now, as the Supreme Being holding all life and the order of the human realm, I solemnly declare, your dark period of testing has officially closed forever. My child, the most bitter and harsh test a soul must endure, you have completed it most excellently. Do not think that because you once collapsed, once cried, once doubted, that you failed. No. The fact that you are still here, still breathing, still keeping a virtuous heart unpolluted by hatred after all that trauma, that is the most powerful testament to your great victory. The bitter cup of humiliation has been drunk to the dregs. The sad pages of the past, stained with sorrow and injustice, have been personally closed and sealed forever by me. From this moment on, no more cruel tests will be permitted to enter your life. It is time for the salty tears of endurance to give way to the tears of overwhelming joy. I am draping over your thin shoulders the radiant robe of a victor, and I want you to take a deep breath. Hold your head high, and prepare to witness with your own eyes how I turn the world around for you. Even as you are holding your breath, listening to these whispers of mine, a massive and invisible shift is taking place in the flow of the universe. My powerful hand is directly intervening in your destiny, overturning every existing order to clear a path covered in roses and light, leading you straight to the throne of abundance. The forces of misfortune, the negative energies, those with malicious intent who wanted to drown you in the mud, all of them are being bounced back by a spiritual wall of fire I have just erected around you. The gears of destiny are turning at a terrifying speed to compensate for the time you thought you lost. The doors of opportunity that were once slammed shut in your face are now being torn off their hinges by my power. The financial flows that were once blocked, the money that seemed lost forever, the dead-end projects are now being cleared, flowing toward you like a flood of unstoppable prosperity. Every bit of bad luck that haunted you for so long has been completely halted. Illness, physical fatigue, and the frenzies of the mind are being swept away by the purest healing energy I am pouring straight into the crown of your head. Do you feel it? A strange peace, a gentle warmth spreading from your chest, caressing your scarred soul. That is my presence. It is the signal that the machine of miracles has been officially activated. There is no more delay, no more distant promises of an indefinite future. My intervention is not tomorrow, not next month, but right now at this very sacred moment of transition, when my soul and your mind are merging as one. All the preparations of the universe are complete, and that massive blessing is no longer hovering somewhere out of your reach. The great financial breakthrough, the complete healing of your broken heart, the worthy compensation for the disadvantages you endured, all are gathering, forming a radiant mass of energy standing right at your door, patiently knocking, waiting for you to step out and receive it. I have cleared the path. I have destroyed every obstacle, and I have brought this ultimate gift to your very hand. But there is a supreme principle of eternity that even I respect, that is your free will. The miracle is right before your eyes, but the final barrier door can only be opened from the inside. By your own determination and permission, I cannot force you to receive wealth or happiness if, deep down, you still cling to the belief that you are unworthy. Therefore, this is the decisive moment. The bell, tolling the hour of the greatest miraculous transition in your life. Do not hesitate for another second. Dispel all shyness. Cast off all lowly self-doubt. You are completely worthy of this prosperity, worthy of this love, worthy of a radiant life no longer shadowed by lack. Step forward, turn the doorknob, and personally open the door of your destiny. Boldly declare to the universe that you are ready to possess what belongs to you by commenting the words "I receive it." The moment those letters are typed by you, the moment that yes is sent into the void, the final seal will be broken. The blinding light of abundance will fill every dark corner of your life. Unimaginable miracles will begin to appear one after another starting today. And your life will officially enter a radiant era that will make everyone who ever looked down on you bow their heads in shock. At the moment you boldly utter that sacred acceptance, when the door of your soul is thrown wide by the echo of absolute surrender and courage, close your eyes and listen in stillness. Do you hear the sound of cracking echoing through space? That is the sound of the rusted links of poverty, of piled-up dead ends, and of bitter suppression shattering into fragments under your feet. At this hour, with all the authority ruling eternity, with the infinite love surrounding your life, I boldly declare the chains binding your life have officially snapped, starting from the moment this truth is revealed. I am releasing a massive financial flow, a glorious abundance never seen before, pouring straight into your life like a flood, washing away all barrenness. The burdens of debt that once made you suffocate to the point of not daring to face tomorrow. The bills that once made you stay awake all night in utter despair, all will be thoroughly resolved by unexpected resources that your mortal mind cannot anticipate or calculate. I am opening secret treasuries, opportunities of pure gold appearing from places you never dared to suspect. Projects that were once stalled will suddenly take flight. People who bring fortune, true benefactors, will automatically knock on your door. And the money that you previously had to sweat and cry to scrape together will now flow toward you naturally, continuously, and easily like water finding the great sea. The weary lack, the poverty and suffering that tortured you throughout these past days will be completely swept away, making room for an overwhelming abundance and prosperity. You will not only have enough to take care of yourself and your family in the most complete and sufficient way, but your hands will also overflow with blessings to bestow, to lift up and help others. I am compensating you not with trickling, meager coins, but with an entire estate of sustainable prosperity, so that you, your children, and your entire family will never again have to bow your heads in worry or shame over food and clothing for a single day in the rest of your radiant life. But my child, material wealth, however great and necessary, is only the surface of the massive blessing I have for you. What I desire most, what I am personally performing in your every breath right now, is the deep, ultimate healing of a soul that has been far too torn and weary. Money, no matter how much, cannot soothe the panic attacks in the empty night, cannot mend a heart shattered by trampled trust. Therefore, I am doing that for you myself. Feel it. I am placing my invisible, warm hand, containing the purest light of the universe, upon your brow, which is knit tight with so many anxieties. Every negative thought, every tearing noise in your mind, every depression, invisible fear, and frenzy is being caressed, purified, and sucked out of your head by me. From tonight, I return to you the most peaceful and deepest sleep, sweet and safe like a child curled up asleep in a mother's protecting arms. You will no longer wake up with a start at 3:00 a.m. with a pounding chest and a brow soaked in sweat from fear of the future. I am pouring a cool stream of life into the depths of your chest, watering the bleeding fragments of your heart, using the golden thread of eternal love to sew up every deep wound the world heartlessly inflicted. The persistent mental trauma, the physical pain, the illnesses or the weary exhaustion that has been haunting and draining your vitality will be completely washed away by this supreme healing energy. When you wake up to greet the dawn tomorrow, you will feel your body light as a feather, every cell overflowing with new vitality, and your soul will be filled with an absolute great peace, a stillness and sturdiness that no storm, no malicious word, or any event of the world can rob or shake ever again. You have found yourself again a version that is whole, radiant, and filled with love. And finally, O warrior who has endured countless grievances and injustices, it is time for me to re-establish order, to return to you the greatest justice, to restore your entire honor, authority, and status that you completely deserve to receive. You once felt bitter, once choked with tears seeing the evildoers, those who exploited your kindness, trampled your virtue, and deceived you, appearing to live unbothered, while you, a person living with full morality, had to sink into the abyss of misery. But I am the absolutely just judge. The scales of this universe have never and will never be skewed. What the enemy used low schemes to steal from you, I will use my supreme power to force this universe to return to you sevenfold, tenfold. For every tear of humiliation you shed in silence, I will compensate with a radiant gem of joy and resounding victory. Remember this well. I will not punish those who turned their backs on you with swords or common calamities. Rather, the most terrifying and deep-seated punishment I have for them is to force them to stand there, opening their mortal eyes to witness your ultimate rise. I am lifting you high, plucking you from the muddy swamp, placing you on a throne of glorious status, so radiant that those who once mocked you, once looked down on you, once smugly thought you had permanently collapsed and would never recover, will now be breathless with shock. They will have to stand from afar, looking up at your blinding glory with extreme envy, regret, and profound respect. I have prepared a lavish banquet overflowing with blessings for you right in front of those who once opposed you, so that this entire world must engrave a truth into its heart: anyone loved, chosen, and protected by me can never, ever be defeated. O great child who has passed through red fire, all humiliation has officially been buried in the past. Lowly self-doubt has been burned to ashes and blown away by the wind. The hour of heroic resurrection has tolled. Proudly put on the robe of glory. Strongly reach out your hand to take the scepter of abundance. Because from today, from this very moment, you are no longer a struggling survivor scraping for scraps of affection in pain. But you are the ruler, the king who masters your own magnificent destiny. Yes, you are standing there, heroic and proud on the peak of resurrection, wearing the radiant robe of a king, mastering your own magnificent destiny. Abundance, peace, and authority have officially been placed into your hands, hands that have endured far too many scratches. However, O little child whom I always protect, do not rush away. Stay for one more moment. Look deep into my eyes right now. The atmosphere is settling, and I need to hold your shoulders firmly, looking into your soul to tell you these vital instructions. Because my bestowing blessings upon you is one thing, but whether you can hold tight to that treasury of miracles is a completely different battle, and that battle the most fierce. Scheming and malicious battle will officially break out the very second this sacred conversation between us ends. I need you to be truly alert, highly vigilant, and mobilize all your willpower to listen to this warning. Because it is the final wall that determines whether you keep your glory or let it slip through your fingers once more. My child, understand clearly the principle of the invisible realm where the brightest light shines. There darkness will frantically rise to resist. At the very moment you open your chest to receive the miracle, when the flow of poverty and suffering is broken by my authority, in some hidden corner of the spiritual realm, The forces of darkness, negativity, and misfortune are trembling in extreme panic. The invisible enemy of your destiny, those forces that once gloated when they saw you fall, once felt smug seeing you drowned in debt, illness, and loneliness, are screaming in rage and fear. They are afraid because they realize they have permanently lost control over your soul. They are afraid because the chain they used to bind your mind with, self-doubt and anxiety, has been smashed into 100 pieces by me. But darkness never knows how to give up easily. Their greatest desire right now is not to attack me, for they cannot. But their only goal, their juiciest prey, is your mind as it tentatively steps into the light. They are lurking just outside the doorstep, counting down every second, waiting for the moment this message ends to rush in and tear at your newly sprouted faith. I know exactly what tactics they will use, and I must expose those low schemes right now so you never fall into the trap. Listen carefully. As soon as this screen goes dark, when you return to the quiet space of reality, the rhythm of the earthly life will immediately surround you. You might see an unpaid bill lying on the table. The phone might ring with a bothersome message, or it could simply be a cold wind blowing that makes you shiver. At that tiny gap of distraction, the enemy will begin to whisper in your ear. They do not come in hideous forms. They manifest as voices of reason, thoughts that sound incredibly real echoing inside your head. They will incite you, saying, "Are you crazy? You just sat there believing some words. Some dreamy talk on the internet." The truth is you're still buried in debt. The reality is you're still lonely and a failure. There are no miracles in this world. And if there are, they certainly aren't for a flawed person like you. Wake up. You're deceiving yourself. That is how the venom of doubt works. They will evoke painful memories from the past, exposing the times you once hoped only to be utterly disappointed, to prove to you that darkness is your eternal reality. They will sow spiritual imposter syndrome deep into every cell of your being, making you feel disgusted with yourself, making you question, "I've done many things wrong. I'm not holy. I'm not perfect. What right do I have to be blessed by God?" You will feel a wave of fear welling up in your stomach, an extreme unease when facing a happiness too great, because you have been used to being hurt for so long. Your mortal brain considers suffering a comfort zone, and it will resist joy by trying to convince you to reject my gift. The enemy knows very well that they do not have the power to strip away the blessings I have placed in your hand, but they can deceive you and manipulate your psychology so that you yourself throw that gift away. They want you to reject the light, to return to the mud, because only there can they continue to drain the lifeblood of your soul. But oh, my warrior, look at me. Let my eyes of burning love incinerate all those lies. Never compromise with those toxic voices, not even for half a second. When those doubtful thoughts threaten to rise, I want you to stand up straight, lift your chin, and use the very pride of one who has been sanctified to extinguish them. You must say directly to the face of negativity, "Get out, I belong to the light. I am not perfect, but I am a child of the Most High, and He loves me with an unconditional love, my child. Remember this truth well. My blessing does not operate based on a scorecard of your perfection. If miracles were only for people who never made mistakes, no one on this earth would be qualified to receive them. I bless you not because you never stumbled, but because you stumbled and cracked your head but still tried to get back up and be a decent person. I am merciful to you not because you are innocent, but because your heart has already endured enough of the world's torment. Your value, your worthiness, was personally ordained by me before the universe was even formed, and no force of darkness, no gossip of the world, and not even your own self-doubt has the authority to negate that truth. This miracle is real, this financial change is real, this absolute peace is real, and it completely, permanently belongs to your legal possession. Therefore, the spiritual battle you must engage in now is the battle of holding the ground. Your faith is not a fragile leaf floating in the wind to be blown away by negative emotions. Your faith must be a solid steel anchor, driven deep and pinned into the very core of the earth, immovable before every hurricane. When reality hasn't caught up with the speed of the invisible realm, when your wallet isn't immediately full tomorrow morning, when the wound in your heart still throbs a few beats, you are not allowed to panic. Waiting in stillness is the final test of faith. Between the time the seed is sown and the time the sprout breaks through the earth, the ground looks quiet and unchanged. But beneath that surface, an explosion of life is occurring intensely. Your destiny is the same. All wealth, all benefactors, all opportunities are moving in the darkness at the speed of light to converge at the exact coordinates of your life. Your only task right now is not to worry about how it will happen, but to maintain a frequency of deep gratitude. Live, breathe, smile, and walk as if you already hold that entire wealth and peace firmly in your hands. Your fearless stillness is the ultimate weapon that makes demons tremble and flee. To protect you absolutely against the frantic counterattack of darkness, I am deploying the most powerful angelic army of the Kingdom of Light to camp all around your house, all around your workplace, and to stand guard beside your bed. I am Jiang, spreading a spiritual wall of fire burning around your entire life and your loved ones. Every curse, every malicious intent, every misfortune or toxic energy that touches this wall of fire will immediately be incinerated into ashes before they can harm a single hair on your head. Your name has been personally carved by me with a pen of fire into the book of life, with an eternal ink of love that no timeline and no space can fade or erase. You are safe. You are protected in the impregnable fortress of the Most High. The storms outside may roar, but inside your chest, the sky is always blue and the sea is calm. You no longer have to fight alone, because I am the vanguard general going before you to clear the path, settle all chaos, and cut through all thorns so your bare feet can walk on silk. However, this fortress needs a lock, and the only key to fully activate this protective seal lies in your very hands. I have completed 99 steps as a creator. I have cleared the spiritual realm. I have smashed the chains. I have transferred the estate of abundance and peace. The final step, the 100th step, belongs to you. This is the time for you to make an act of confirmation, a spiritual signature of eternal legal standing to seal the covenant between you and the universe. This action will send out a massive radio frequency piercing through all the heavens, notifying the entire invisible and visible realm that this property has an owner. This soul has been protected, and darkness no longer has any opening to penetrate. Do not hesitate. Do not let doubt have another thousandth of a second to interrupt this great stillness. Mobilize all your will, strength, and love right now. At this moment, boldly declare war on darkness and establish your eternal protective boundary by commenting these sacred words, "Amen, I seal this miracle." Or if you want a stronger affirmation, type "Darkness has ended. The light is mine." When those letters appear on the screen, when you put your heart into every keystroke, it is not a mindless act of typing in cyberspace. It is a thunderous blow struck directly into the lair of negativity. It is the final gavel of the Supreme Judge sentencing your soul to eternal freedom. The wall of fire will immediately flare up fiercely, embracing your life, sealing in all the wealth, luck, health, and peace I have just bestowed. You have locked in your glory from the moment this Amen covenant is established. No one, no force, can take away what I have destined for you. You are officially safe, officially wealthy, officially healed, and officially the most radiant version that this universe has ever witnessed. Do not wait for another breath. Type that word of sealing, "My victorious child," and let the ultimate blinding light swallow the darkness forever. The storm has truly receded. And now, Dawn is radiantly shining on your every step. I want you to take this whisper into your sleep tonight and keep it forever in your heart. I love you more than 10,000 oceans and the stars in the sky combined. You are my masterpiece, my greatest pride. From this moment on, shed every haggard appearance, hold your head high, and walk in the pride of the light. My infinite peace now officially reigns fully within your chest, protecting you until the end of time. But my child, the mission of the Chosen One is not only to receive blessings but to spread life. Out there are still countless hearts that are shattered, choking in dead ends, debt, and despair, exactly like you were yesterday. They too are weeping in the night, asking me for a life buoy. I want to borrow your warm hands to save them. Share this message with those you love, or simply share it out there so the flow of the universe can naturally bring it to the souls crying in secret. One share from you is a great act of lighting a candle of hope, rescuing a life that is sinking into the darkness. And finally, so that the sacred link between us is never severed amidst this noisy sea of people, save this video and hit the follow button on the channel. This place will be a safe sanctuary, a home of light, where I will continue to send instructions, protection, and support to you every day. Step firmly forward and live the most prosperous, magnificent life you deserve. I am always here, embracing you. Peace be with you forever, my light warrior.